Good evening, everybody. This is my first night Facebook Live. I'm going to play a song now for forced adoption. FAFAS. Families Against Forced Adoption. This is the song for the children in the UK. I'm sick and tired of hearing families crying on the computer. I hope you're watching the government. I shout for every forced adopted child in this country. FAFAS. Families Against Forced Adoption. I'm here, people. I'm never going to leave you. I'm never going to leave you. I am going to bring forced adoption to the centrefold of government. We've got that hung parliament we were after. I was after a hung parliament. My prediction was right. And I will one day start a social service party. And it will be based around social services. I see you've been demoted, Liz Truss, the Justice Secretary. Mrs May had a reshuffle in the cabinet. You've been demoted. You can thank Jackie Doyle-Price for that, MP at Thurrock, dragging you in on her dirty work. It was nice to have fish and chips with you in the pub. But I'm going to spend a little time now just to listen to this song for the children that have been stolen. Thurrock Council is the heart of forced adoption. Jackie Doyle-Price is the heart of forced adoption. This lady that gives no child a voice. What are you going to do, Theresa May? You've had your cabinet reshuffle. Why have you put Liz Truss as the Chief Secretary of the Treasury? Why have you done that? Do you want her to see my compensation? Shocking. She should stand down, Theresa. Theresa May, you know what's going on in forced adoption in this country. I'm not going to let up. I listen and see crying mothers and fathers grieving for their children. It ain't nice, Theresa May. It ain't nice. And you've got to do something. My tweets must have had some effect for you to demote Liz Truss. I'm not going to go away from you, all you people. I know how you feel. Thanks very much, Penny. I'd just like to say a few thank yous. I'd like to say a few thank yous to people. Georgie, well done girl, stay strong. Sandy Joyce, fantastic lady, great what you're doing. I'm well impressed with you, lady. Kay in Ireland, nice woman. Stay where you are, girl. You've got it all buttoned up where you are. Well done. Thanks for all the help you give. And anybody else that helps for this cause. It doesn't matter if you're sitting on your sofa sharing my work. That is fantastic. It's even better if people can turn up. I understand people are ganked. That's what these are for. These are for all the gagged parents I shout for. These. Lorry loads. Chokes me. This song chokes me for the child. I have been that looked after child. I've been in many establishments and battered. And I mean beaten. I've been locked in classrooms, I've had tables and chairs thrown at me, I've had my head put down toilets, I've had my head put in wash buckets, cold water. Thanks, Kirsty. Thanks. If I don't shout for all you families in the UK, nobody's going to do it. And when I see social workers on the internet bragging about what they've done and the procedure on how to take people's children, how do you know there's no snatch squad out there looking for people like you? You've got to be careful. And the government, you've got to take note, man. I'm telling you, you've got to take note. The Social Service Party is going to wipe the floor with you, Theresa May, and you, Jeremy Corbyn. You all know about it. UKIP, you've dwindled. You've dwindled. You know, I could join any one of your parties. I've already been part of the Conservative Party. I was used. Jackie Doyle-Price used me to get her seat. I am so happy the election went the way it did. My MP has kept their seat, and there's a hung parliament. Now I can hold all the MPs to account. They all know about it because I'm sick of it. When I watch TV and I watch Parliament religiously, I watch the daily politics religiously, I watch the news religiously. And when I see in Parliament these children's debates, it is absolutely shocking. 6 or 7 people are turning out, but you're quick enough to turn up to get your 350 quid for attendance. Yeah, you're quick enough to turn up when it's as expensive day and you're all turning out with your good watches and your nice clobber on. How about these families that are crying for kids? Kids that you've stolen. And I can prove forced adoption goes on. Thurrock Council perjured themselves. Now, to be accusing someone of perjury is very serious. And I know the complications. Yeah, I know it. Now local council at Thurrock perjured themselves and stole my child. Now the social worker involved in this case, how many children has she stolen? 13 years this social worker's been going for. 13 years. And when I look at my BAF forms, the adoption forms, I see that it's a student social worker trying to adopt my baby. Now these forms were filled in a couple of weeks after my child was stolen. I went back to court. I won my baby back. I seen the social worker in that dock, and the judge said to her, "You're in a situation." And boy, when she walked out of the court, she ran. I had people sitting outside the court who were accompanying me to court, and she ran. She couldn't get out the building quick enough. Big shout to her, Jazz and Tim today. Mate, they're like 2 blood brothers to me. I mean it, you two. If you're watching online tonight, there's a big shout going out for Tim. Jazz, you there? Big shout going out for you as well, mate. Used to, I'm telling you, I'll lay red carpet down for you, pair, after what you two did for me today. Thank you very much, and it's never going to be forgotten. 2 brothers you are. I'll class you as 2 real brothers, true people. Thanks a lot. I'd love to go from council to council. I'd like to give a big shout out to Eugene. If you want me to come to your council, Eugene, I'll come to your council. You know? Medway, shocking council. I was outside Cookenwood. All the self-harmers that come out to care sent me to Cookenwood. And at Cookenwood, it's a young offenders institution where all the prison officers think they're a bit tough, hitting all the young offenders, beating them up. Is that why you beat them up? Hey, is that why you beat them up? Because no one else will listen to them because they're self-harmers. You wouldn't do that in a man's jail, would you? Beating all the fell looked after kids. Mate, to all you prison officers in Cookenwood or any other young offender, when you see a self-harmer, you check him out and you look after him. Because I'm telling you, he's been failed many times by his parents on some occasions and by the hands of the Crown social services. And when they get into your establishments, they're abused. You don't understand what they're going through. My heart goes out to every child in a young offenders institution because of the way they was brought up. I feel for them young lads. I know how you feel. I've been to a young offenders institution. I know what it's like. Thanks a lot, Joyce. You're amazing too, girl. I follow you quite closely. I see what you do for kids. I see the amount of work you do on the internet, rallying around with all the mums and the dads, doing your bit. And I'm telling you, girl, you're top notch, and I'd love to meet you. You're fantastic. Everybody give a big shout out to Joyce and give her a like and a whatever. Do you know what I mean? That woman's amazing. I do feel sorry for you, Georgie, out in Ireland. I do feel sorry for you. You know, but you should be okay. Don't stress yourself out over it. You know, you'll get there. You'll get a second wind. Everybody gets a second wind. The best thing I can say to you to do is work with them social workers. Don't evade no drug tests. Don't evade anything. But please, please, keep copies of all the paperwork. You need copies of every paperwork you get given. You need minutes to any meetings you get. You want copies of them minutes. It'll help you go a long way. If you want to shove my name into your mix and say, you follow me, great, you know. But just crack on, Georgie, the way you're doing fine, you know. The protesting that's been going on Ed Simpson's roof, I understand people are frustrated and all the rest of it. People have got to do what they've got to do. But I'll say this to the Crown all the time, on Twitter. I say, it's going to get out of hand, and it is going to get out of hand, because if I go and touch a dog's pups, it's going to go for me. If I climb into a nest and try and nick a bird's eggs, it's going to go for me. Now, because we've got this system in this country, what bangs us up and silences us, and then that gives them the power to adopt our children, it ain't going to happen under the social service party. I'm hoping to start a social service party based around social services, because these MPs, they don't care about you. You are a walking wallet. We are ants to the Queen, right? The social service party is the way to go, because social services, it's not meant to be for profit. It's not. And that's what the government say. Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks a lot, mate, for the pat on the back. I mean, everybody that says thanks to me, it gives me a bit more confidence, you know, because lately I've been feeling a bit down. I've been doing this for 5 years. I mean, I was doing a bit of Facebook Live there with Gary Roy Hilson. I've got a few things to say to you, Gary, if you're linked up and watching. Mate, you might be a nice guy and all the rest of it, but you've got some serious allegations against your name, and you've got to clear your name before you sit anywhere next to me, bruv. And if you've got a problem with that, phone me up. We'll have a chat. You know, and if you want a serious chat, we'll have it. Serious chat, you know. But I need to keep away from any animosity, because at the end of the day, mate, I ain't here to help anybody escape to France, right? I don't agree with anybody running away from their children. I'm a fighter. I stand and fight my ground, right? The worst thing for you to do is run away with your kids, because the minute you get caught, you ain't going to see your children. And I'm putting it like this because I don't hold back. You know, some parents need to be told how it is. The best thing to do is work with social workers. You know, I know it's all going against the grain all the time. It's against the grain. It's against the grain, and it makes you want to break down, and it makes you want to scream out and swear and all the rest of it. But mate, I've been there and done that. You know, try and show no emotion to these people. These people are not humane. I'm telling you. You know, to be getting money for adopting children. Oh, I've saved another child. No, you haven't saved another child. You've stolen another child. Right, Stevie, he's my nephew. Cheers, mate. I'll be the best uncle you'll ever have, mate. I can tell you that for free. You know, love the world of you. You know, keep yourself safe, stay out of trouble. I'm fighting. I know you're hurting, you know, for what's going on in your family. I know that, mate. But this is the only way I could do it. You know, I'm hurting the Crown more, everybody, all you families watching. I'm hurting the Crown more. To like and share this will be such a threat to the government. It'll be untrue. The Social Service Party is going to be a tear of the seas. It's going to be based around social services, right? I'm going to show social services and the government real child protection, because you can't batter me in children's homes and think you can get away with it. Lower Lee School, I was battered for 6 whole years. Get me the hockey stick. I was battered for 6 whole years in a boarding school called Lower Lee. I've got quite a few friends on my friends page on Lower Lee, and I know exactly what happened to most of my friends when they was beaten, you know, and we still haven't had the proper justice for what we went through at school, you know, but I'm going to bring it to the forefront, as well as forced adoption. You know, I was in a children's home at the age of 6, and I was battered with something like this. Now this is the hockey stick I was regularly battered with in a children's home. I got £9,000 for my compensation for being beaten in a children's home as a looked after child. I used that compensation for hypnotherapy to sort my head out. I went to work as a scaffolder, and Thurrock Council perjured themselves. 52 children out of 1,000, the time of they took Misty, was being taken out of the community. 52 to 1,000 families, children being taken. Now, Thurrock Council are screaming on about we'll train you to be foster carers. How can you, Thurrock Council, because I know you're watching, how can you have the audacity to going round telling people how to behave with kids, how to tell foster parents how to look after children. Are you going to look into how much you're giving these foster parents to pay for looking after other people's children? You're having a laugh. You're having a laugh. A single woman don't get that on benefit, right? Now when it comes back to reunification for this child doesn't want to go home. So this man and this father has been hurt twice. Now the sibling don't want to go home because the damage you've caused, you and your foster parents. So all this training them up and extra bedroom tax and all the rest of it, it's a load of rubbish, mate. It's a load of rubbish. Because when the social service part get in, they're going to combat social services, and there will be a fair independent assessment units. Because the money you're paying, government, to go into one toffee-nose-faced little woman's pocket to judge one family after an hour is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And when I ask for a public inquiry into the social services of Thurrock Council for committing perjury, do I get an assessment? Do I get a serious case review? But it's all right when you want one, though, isn't it? One that works for you, what's not independent, and it takes out the taxpayers up to £9,000. Where's that money going? Into Toffee Nose's pocket. That's right. But when the social service party start, you're going to have a shock. Because I'm going to open contact centres and I'm going to open independent assessment units. Independent from local authorities. And all the money that them independent assessment units get, and the contact centres, that will go for children's mental health. I'm not going to mess about. Because at the end of the day, this needs to stop. You need to be putting cameras on social workers. Because I'm telling you now, there's going to be something stupid what's going to happen to social workers. There's too many threats. Look at the statistics. Even though the statistics are looking after children within Thurrock Council are really bad. And that's why I'm seeking to remove all your looked after children for the council. I hope you're watching. And any MP that wants to jump ship, you jump ship my way. You come and have a chat. Because I'm telling you, I've been told by my legal team and by my agent, I am a turn of the seas for children. Now, I don't care what anyone says. You say to me, children's services is not for profit. Clearly it is. All the extravagant wages in the council. For the council, you don't sit there smiling, because I know you're sitting there smiling. You won't be smiling when I've got my threshold statement together, with you failing all them kids. I'm going to seek to remove your kids. And when I do remove your kids, all the families that are watching me tonight are going to love it. They're going to be sharing this, they're going to be loving it. Because there's someone there that don't need one of these. You don't need one of these. I'm not gagged. They call it avoiding. You don't let them. Sorry, my missus is my little right hand man here, looking out messages and passing me them and all the rest of it. It's my new Facebook Live tonight, and my missus is just at the side of me, typing me out messages. They call it avoiding if you don't let them look into the files. We asked for public inquiry and told no. What are we hiding? What are you hiding? Why can't I have a serious case review? You asked for an independent assessment done on me. You got one. It's such a shame. It was word for word of the social worker's statement. How stupid. But let me tell you something, Thurrock Council. I'm a scouser, not a tit. I was dragged up, not brought up. And because I was a failed looked after child, I'm going to come back and I'm going to smack you right round the chops for all them families that are hurting. And when I do get on the telly, I'm going to say how it is for all them families. I'm going to be a turn of the seas for children. I'm going to make sure there's 11,000 children in this country under the age of 18. Now these are their statistics. My idea hit half of them children, 6.5 million. I could raise 195 million. I would put £95 million of that into Judge Mumby's recommendation. And what he recommends is keeping these old people together. And someone else that's the social services are failing. The old people. I would put £95 million into old people's homes to keep them together. £2,000 a week to keep an old couple in an old people's home. And you're telling me it's not for money? Are you having a laugh? I'm about creating rolling funds. And what I'll do for these old people is create rolling funds. And I will go out my way to do that. Someone sent a message in saying, How can someone tell us how to look after children when they've not got children themselves? That's right. That's like me saying, that's like someone saying to me, right Jack, I'm coming to work for you today, I'm going to tell you how to put scaffold up. How can you tell me how to put scaffold up when you've never done it? Social workers, they asked me to train and induct social workers at Thurrock Council. Now, I didn't only just beat the social workers in court, I wiped the bleeding floor with the legal team. Now, I pointed out in court, their legal team was signalling. They were giving the answers to the questions to the social worker. And Judge Lynn Roberts, mate, I can't praise that woman enough. She's not a bent judge. Judge Lynn Roberts stopped the social worker and the barrister from signalling. Now, you've got to play dirty. You had the rule book, you couldn't beat me. You broke the law, you couldn't beat me. Now I'm the voice for all these failing families. This is an epidemic in this country. Forced adoption, okay, is an epidemic. Now, when relationships break down, the man is always the bad party in the relationship. I understand when men do bad things, I understand that. But don't say you can't parent a child just because you've nicked something, or just because you've punched someone in the face. Doesn't mean you can't parent your child, right? I know many are fighters, and by God, they are fighters. I'm telling you, they are fighters. And you put a child in front of them people, mate, they wobble at the knees. I don't care how hard you are, you wobble at the knees. I'll do the same, you know, and that's why I've got the fire in my gut to fight for you lot, and I mean fight for you lot. I could quite easily sit back, wait for my compo. I'm not about money, I'm about change. Money won't make change, money won't make change. What I do want to put myself about, as in Cardiff, it keeps coming up on my computer as a corrupt social services, another one. Constantly popping up, Cardiff, 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 Cardiff. Now you people at Cardiff, you get a few people together. Any council, you get a few people together. I'll turn up. And I'll turn up on the megaphone and I'll shake the council to its foundations. Mate, they won't know what's hitting. They can't shut me up. I turned up at Tower Hamlets. The police was laughing. They was laughing. Now, I got a lot of respect off from Tower Hamlets. Not only did I get the respect from the head of security at Canary Wharf, who says he's going to follow me, right? I got a lot of respect from Tower Hamlets Council. I went inside, I apologised, and I apologised to the police, but sometimes things have to be said, and this is something that really does have to be said, and has to be brought to the forefront of politics. It's always social care, adult social care. What about the children's social care? We never see Question Time doing a social care debate on children. LBC, mate, you're peddling the propaganda wheel of the government. LBC, Nick Ferrari, you gave me a chance. Yeah, mate, I understand you gave me a chance, but at the end of the day, have me on a debate. LBC, you test the water. You test the water to the real community, and you see all the real problems that are going on in this community. You know what I mean? The real problems. I mean, you've got nurses using food banks. The Social Service Party is going to combat stuff like this, mate. I don't agree with no one hitting any nurse. You know, nurses using food banks. I've got great ideas for the NHS. I'm telling you now, I've got great ideas to ease the NHS and ease the police, because I'm telling you, I'm going to combat social services. And when I do, the police are going to love me, because they're not going to be running around the streets, sirens blazing, sorting out playground squabbles, because that's what they are, playground squabbles. That is because social services are not doing their job. They're not doing their job. They're too busy nicking people's children. And don't tell me they don't nick kids, because they do nick children. And I'm telling you, Parliament, you've got to stop this child stealing, right? Don't tell me you're not stealing children, you are, okay? Ed Timpson, you might have done a good thing with this kind of work that you're doing regarding adoption. But at the end of the day, mate, most of these kids are being stolen, right? I'm seeing posts of social workers bragging about what they're doing and telling other social workers how to throw bad things into the pot. Nah, this ain't right, mate. Do I have to go round seeking possession of all the children to stop you in your tracks? Because I'm telling you, you knock on my door, I'll tell you where to go. You can't knock on my door. I was supposed to have a visit of the police today regarding my son. I've done a review video before, just a little snapshot with my son. Now this is my son nobody knows about, right? This is the son that's going into the local papers. I've protected his identity by putting Guy Fawkes on him, right? Guy Fawkes nearly brought down Parliament. I'm going to bring it down legally because there's too many families screaming they've had them done by social workers. Now, I was supposed to have a visit off the police today. The police didn't even turn up. And this is meant to be the child protection squad. I understand the child protection are busy. I can understand that. And I'm going to wait. Because slowly catch your monkey. I've never gone into a fight thinking I'm the best. I've never gone into the fight thinking I'm the strongest. I've always gone into a fight to survive. Just to survive. And once you're used to that storm, then you start to fight back. And that's when they're tired. It's called my turn. I've just got another little piece of paper passed to me. Sandy Joyce, Paul Roberts video. Paul Roberts, mate, I want to meet you. I was going through the Misty Barnes case and I met Paul, and I seen Paul Roberts' video. Now this is a guy that done a video. He's been all over social media. This guy helps all families. Mate, he's a good guy. Don't know the ins and outs of his case. I've seen his video and that was enough for me. That gave me fight. Mate, I haven't stopped since. And I'd like to meet you, Paul. Mate, you are a man. Because if that was me, mate, I wouldn't have coped. I would not have coped. You've done well, mate, and you pat yourself on the back. If anyone's ever seen this video, mate, it is touching. You know? Paul, I'd love to meet you. Well done, mate. And thanks for all the work you've been doing for me, whether you sharing me posts and sharing me other stuff and all, and getting me heads up on stuff and all the rest of it. Thanks a lot, mate. But we will cross paths someday and I will shake your hand. Steve, you getting off, mate? My little Stevie, see you later, mate. Catch up on me, watch it, share it with all your friends, especially your friend who's going out with a social worker. You know, it'd be great if we could get a social worker to disappear willfully. Oh, could you imagine that? Eh? The whole country looking for her. It's not committing a grave offence. You know, if you had a willing social worker that just disappeared, do you know what I mean? Brought it to the forefront. I mean, I've had all these ideas. I want to say thank you to Danielle. Your comments mean a lot. Thanks, Danielle. If you'd like to share and like the video, the more we get it out there, the better. I mean, I've been screaming and shouting for the hung Parliament. I've got that. I mean, I think I've got my spirits behind me. I mean, I don't know how I've done this fight, but by God, I've done it. You know, I mean, I see myself as a martial arts professional because I've got that control, and that's what you need. Number one, the first, the control. You know, to be good at any sport, you need that control. And this fight, mate, it's a hell of a slog. You know, I mean, I've felt a bit down today, but I jump on the computer, I look at all you families crying and grieving. It gives me that fight back, you know. But again, I'd like to say thanks to Tim, and I'd like to say thanks to Jazz. They picked me up off a bleeding park bench today, you know, give me a smack round the head, both of them, spun me around a few times and sent me home, you know. Thanks a lot, you two, again. I don't know what else to say. I mean, the statistics, I mean, 11,000 children in the UK, 6.5 million, my idea, that's just reaching half of them children. I could raise 195 million. 95 million would go into old people's homes because of Judge Mumby. It was saying it was inhuman to be splitting these married couples up after they've been together for so long. My other 100 million would go back into children's mental health. I mean, I've got plans for Alzheimer's sufferers. I mean, there's 850 Alzheimer's sufferers in this country, you know. That's £25.5 million I could put back into Alzheimer's. Do you know what I mean? I'm no Diane Abbott. I'm no Thornbury. I won't sit there snorkeling in a low tide when it goes out being revealed because you don't know what you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? You don't know what you're talking about. And the thing is, I've stood down because I'm not well. It's a load of rubbish. It's a load of rubbish. You know, Liz Truss, you've been demoted for a reason, young lady, and you can thank your friend Jackie Doyle-Price. You know, I see Jackie Doyle-Price the other day. She told me to F off in the street. Now this is an MP that's been re-elected Thurrock residents, I don't know what's going on in your minds. She failed us on the bridge. It's a failed council. Nobody likes her. She caused divide in the community. She took her job on as an assistant whip. Why the hell has she been re-voted? You know, she must have been voted in off the back of somebody else, Theresa May. Now, come on, Theresa May, let's have a clean slate. We've met before. We've been out on the bus together on a nice sunny day. It was a great little journey. We both enjoyed ourselves. We've sat in an office, we've had a little chat, had our picture taken. Now let's have a clean slate, yeah? I understand you've demoted Liz Truss. You know, I'm about forced adoption for the families in this country. Now the government and all these MPs, I mean, let's do it properly, because all you're doing is taking the mick out of people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, but Mr Bacon. You know, these are MPs I quite like, and I follow on a regular basis when I can. You know, but Theresa, come on now, let's have a fair crack with the whip. Let's have a clean slate. You know, let's get our heads together and let's see what we can do for children. Because you've gone to the DUP. I mean, I understand you've got to do what you've got to do to make a government, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to hold you to account, young lady. I mean, you know, I'm going to hold you to account, you know, because there's too many children been stolen. And don't tell me they've not been stolen, because they have been stolen. They've been stolen off of children in this community, this country, and it's an epidemic around the world. Now, people are getting to know me in the States, right? I'm getting known in the States. Donald Trump, please contact me. I'm the man with the red hat, you know. I'm not a fart. I'm the opposite end of your spectrum, mate. I'm skint, right? Macron did it. Trump did it. Don't be under the illusion that I can't do it. Now, I'm a big loud voice for all them failed families. Now, come on, Theresa. Come on. Give these families a fair crack at the whip. Come and see me about it. You haven't spoke to me about any of my videos. Not once. But it's a concern of George Galloway's on Facebook calling himself an MP. That is a concern to the Houses of Parliament. But my video for justice for me and my family is not. Now, stop stealing children from the UK. Don't tell me it's not going on, because it is. Now, I want you to hold all social workers to account. Because if I set up the Social Service Party, that is exactly what it's going to do. It's going to hold social workers to account, right? Not under the HCPC, the Healthcare Professionals Council, because they're not doing their job, right? The council, in my case, have not notified the HCPC. Lord Foulkes and Lord Beecham, what have you got to say about it? The council have not divulged what's going on to the HCPC about the social workers. The social workers have got references and gone on to work to other councils. I moved on from that Thurrock Council to Essex Council. They got sacked. I moved on then to another council, Redbridge. They got sacked. Now, why haven't these been reprimanded under the HCPC? Why haven't these been held to account? The Social Service Party's going to do it. The Social Service Party's going to do it. It's going to put cameras on social workers. I've got a manifest. I've got a manifest. Look, all written out. I'm not going to beat round the bush. I mean, you can't really see it, you know, but I'm not going to mess about. You know, I can read you a few things. I mean, some of the things I've gone into it. But I am #scousemegaphoneman. I'm not the government. I'm not just going to plough loads of money into a bag with holes in. I'm not that stupid, you know. But because I've lived social care, I know where all the holes are in the bag. And the holes start with the social services, right? You plug all them holes, I know where the holes are, so I'm going to plug them. And then I'm going to fill them holes with money, the bag with money. And it's not going to dwindle away on wages. It's not going to dwindle away on stationery and all the rest of it. So when there's no money when by the time it gets down to the child, that's not going to happen. I'm about a rolling fund. The Alzheimer's idea is going to be a rolling fund. The children mental health is going to be a rolling fund, right? Children's security in this country top notch, top notch. Okay, it's going to be a great job, Donald. Great job. Jackie Khan is right. It's kidnapped, stealing to take someone without owner's permission. Owner's not in court. What, you didn't attend in court, Jackie? They took my baby. They took my baby without my permission. I know what you're saying. They went into court with an emergency order, an emergency threshold, which is what they do with quite a lot of you. And where quite a lot of people are making the mistake of going into court, fighting hammer and tongs at that initial court hearing, the emergency order hearing when there's a threshold statement. The best thing to do is say nothing. It's like a no comment in the police station. Say nothing, because the less you say, the less they've got at the final hearing. Now, please, don't fight at the first initial hearing. I didn't. Now, when I got to my second hearing, the social workers were gobsmacked. All the way through the process, the social workers were saying to me, what paperwork have you got for court? I said, that's all I've got. That's the only paperwork I've got. So they based it around their case. When I got to court, I could only submit my evidence at court at certain times. I submitted the rest of my evidence at the trial day. They couldn't change anything. They were knackered. They were in the dock, swearing on oath. I didn't swear on oath. I did not swear in the trial with my baby. I did not pick up the Bible and swear on oath. God's 10 Commandments, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. I'm sorry for swearing, but I don't care. Don't use God's name in vain. Whether you're telling the truth or not, don't use it. And there you are in a British court every single day, picking up the Bible and swearing on oath. And this is local government swearing on oath, the 10 Commandment. And where does the Magna Carta come into all this? Where does the Magna Carta come into all this? You know? Shocking. You hate me, government, don't you? You hate me, and I'm not going to go away because there's too many families, and I'm going to tell you how it is for all these families. You steal children, and it needs to stop, because I can prove it. What's going to happen about the abusers that abused my son? He's still grieving, a year and a half, 2 years, still no justice, still no criminal charges for my son. And the council, social workers, who took my child on future risk of harm, left my son. All the authorities were screaming onto the social workers, this son's at risk. The head of child protection in the council, this boy's at risk. The social worker involved in this case refused to do anything with my son. My son suffered all forms of abuse. I've still not had criminal charges. Now, when I do get criminal charges, I know a lot of people behind the door who are doing sentences, heavy sentences. And this will go out, mate. And I'm a liked person, right? I've got school friends who've got HMP, Her Majesty's Pleasure. They are never getting out because of the way they was treated in the young offenders institutions and boarding schools. They're not getting out. Some of my friends are heroin addicts. Some of my friends are dead. Some of my friends have still got their head together and they're on my Facebook. They're not happy. They're not happy. They're struggling. Lower Lee School is going to be brought to the forefront, the same as forced adoption, because the Social Service Party, they're not happy about it, mate. In me, a failed looked after child. I'm going to do what I can for you people, and I am hoping to start up a Social Service Party, because I am going to put cameras on social workers. I am going to sell that footage to the barristers in the family courts. You know, this 26-week court process for children, the councils are going to start making it when I get in. Because I'm telling you, that's the way to go to show transparency. That camera will be able to show the conduct of the social worker. Now let's have some transparency, right? If it's a closed court, let's put cameras on the social workers. Because let's face it, you've got to protect your social workers. There's angry families in the UK. And I'm telling you how it is. Because I'm shouting for them people that are gagged. And at the same time, what we can do, right, is we can sell that coverage to the barristers in court who are in the court litigation for the families, right? And that money can be used for mental health therapy for the families that have lost their children, to put a stop there, then, that's it. So when they find a new partner, it doesn't drag anybody else into it. You don't nick another child, because you haven't got placements to place these children. This is why you've got great big buildings in London, all over the country, adoption places and all the rest of it. Joyce, great-granddaughter, was forced adopted 16 hours after birth. It's absolutely inhumane. Our social workers, 16 hours. How social workers can get in there that quick, when no child can be subject to any order before it's born. So there you are, carrying out assessment, this and all the rest of it, a pre-birth, and moving in. Well, let me tell all you mothers, before any social workers acted and they're on your doorstep, bring your child to me. Bring your child to me. I'll tell them social workers where to go, mate. Because if they've got no order, I'll tell them where to go. I'll tell them I'm seeking possession of all your children. So don't you be taking this one. To see someone you love crying and you as a man can't do anything about it or stop it, mate, it's unbelievable. If someone struck my missus in the street 5-10 years ago, mate, they'd have been knocked out cold. Because I know where the button is to press. I can't believe it. I feel sorry for all you men. Please be strong and stick to your partners like glue. I want all you women to stick to your men like glue. Because these social workers are out to divide and conquer. If you're not at these meetings together, they'll play you off on one another. He said this last time when he was here, and she said that, and about you, and when you go back home there's a great big row. And this is what's stretching the police force, you know. And the social workers think it's absolutely fantastic. They get off on it, you know. It's a judgmental society, the UK. The social services are the worst. And to see someone you absolutely love break down, mate, you are strong. You know, I know you can't go and blame anybody and all the rest of it, and you can't do anything because it feels like your hands are tied. Mate, it's so hard, and I take my hat off to any man that pulls back from hitting a social worker, because the minute you do, you'll mess it all up. I've just got a message from Abdul. Big shout for you, Abdul. Great to see you the other day. Nice meeting we had in the garden. I mean, we've got a few ideas there. I'd like to meet you again. I've got another good idea there, but I'm not going to go over social media saying it. Big shout going over to my sister. Anyone that knows my sister, if you see any of her posts, that's my sister. Loves me to bits. I mean, I've only just been not long reunited with my sister. I don't speak to my family due to the way I was brought up in children's homes and all the rest of it. I've just been reunited with my sister. Hello sis, Kaz, she knows what I've been through, all the grief we've been through as kids, you know. My mum got away with it. I mean, I'd love to speak to my mum. I mean, I cry for you. I'm 43 years of age, mum. I cry for you, you know. I was taken off you by social workers. You say I was a little shit. Mate, there's got to be reasons behind that, mum. Please contact me, because I feel the pain, you know, I feel the pain. You know, I can carry on without you, but I'll feel the pain. You know, you are my mum. Please, please. I'm going to expose them, Abdul. Mate, they don't like me. Mate, they don't like me. The government, I am the social services' worst nightmare. Trust me. The police love me. When the police turn up at my protests, they smile. They smile at me because I'm doing a good thing. When I got Misty back, I'm going to tell you, all you mothers and fathers for forced adoption, when I got my baby back, I was pulled over by the police. The police car put its sirens on, turned around, chased me down the road and stopped me. I got out of my car, he said to me, can you stand on the curb, mate? I went to Mr. Barnes, I said, yeah. I said, how do you know my name? He said, Jack, I want to shake your hand. Well done. Well done. I wanted to meet you. I said, is that what you stopped me for? He went, yeah. Now, it might look a bit dodgy, me cuddling a copper on the side of the road, but at the end of the day, mate, you don't get that. You don't get that, you know. And if that policeman's watching me and following me on the slide, I'd like to say thanks to you, mate. A hat off to you. I'm not going to take it right off because I like to protect my identity. I can walk through my high street, take my hat off, and not one person will recognise me. If I put my hat on, I can't take 20 steps. People will wave at me, shout at me. It's great, you know, it's great. I'm going to expose it, Abdul, you know. I mean, I'd like to speak to you to get me some printing done regarding this forced adoption. Let's all unite, you know. Let's all unite, because I'm seeing a lot of people that are hurting. I mean, people don't mean what they say to each other on social media. It's all angry words. I mean, these people go offline and come back online and they're regretting what they're saying, you know. Let's repair all these bridges. Let's stop all this animosity, you know, because, I mean, I've said a few nasty things to people, and again I've said sorry, but at the end of the day, gal, mate, you've got to clear your name, you know, because at the end of the day there's some serious allegations against you. I'm a children's rights campaigner, but, you know, I'm going to expose it and I'm going to bring it to the forefront of Parliament. Jordan, just got a message passed to me from Jordan. I wish I could have you in your meetings. Jordan, if I could go every single meeting in a link up, mate, I'd do it. The amount of people that ask me to go to meetings, it's unbelievable. I don't know where you're from, Jordan. I'm based in Thurrock. I've had a mother put a post on my wall saying she's desperate. I cry for these mums and these fathers that are not seeing their kids, you know. Bobby Smith. Oh, can I forget Bobby Smith? Bobby Smith, mate. Top man, you know. Great what you're doing. I feel sorry for you, pal, you know. Fathers that are not seeing their kids through access and all the rest of it, the CSA, mate, it's ruthless. I'm a children's rights campaigner. The social service party is going to combat stuff like this, mate. It's going to combat stuff like this. I've got big plans for these kids. Do you know what I mean? To stop them being failing. Because it's mental and emotional abuse. Now, if you was doing it to a mum, I can understand that, but there's men and women as well. I can't just say it's for men. I've got to be both sides of the fence. There's men and women grieving for their children, you know, and they're paying for maintenance. And some men are not paying because they don't see their children, you know. I grieve for all you men that are not seeing your kids. Believe me, I know how you feel, you know, and it is along with forced adoption. They are parallel lines in my world, you know. To make the NHS be the best of what it is, at the same time putting the ease on the police, you know. The father's CSA business, you know, and social workers, these are parallel lines we're talking on, you know. Jordan, you're in Surrey, you know, it's not too far from me. I mean, my diary's quite busy at the minute. I mean, I have my agent phoning me up on a regular basis, telling me what to say and what not to say on Facebook. I mean, I do take them seriously. I've got to tread carefully, even though I am right. You know, there's still things I've got to be careful on what I say. But Jordan, yeah, I mean, if you inbox me and let me know when your meeting is, I'll come along and be your advocate, you know, and I'll give them a few things to think about, you know, when I open my mouth, because I mean, I am a threat to social workers. I'm getting around the country. Another place I'd like to go to, Scotland, you know. There's quite a few people contacting me from Scotland. I feel their pain as well, you know. And I mean, Sturgeon, Nicola Sturgeon, I mean, what are you playing at? Any of you MPs, if you'd have brought forced adoption to your campaign, you'd be in power now. You would be in power now. You've got to use your loaves, because you ain't, you know. It's this you're after. It's no good. Do you know what I mean? Any of you MPs, you put adoption part of your manifesto, you'll smash it. You know, Paul Nuttall, you got it all wrong, mate. You got it all wrong. You should have came and had a chat with me about your plans for your bring back the death penalty. You know, because let's not waste a life, mate. Let's not waste a life. I've got a new word, and my new word for these politicians is thrust passion. Now, my word is called thrust passion for the English dictionary. Now, thrust passion means I'm frustrated and I am passionate at the same time. To combat forced adoption and fathers and mothers not seeing their children. Thrust passion, spelled F-R-U-S-T, passion. Thrust passion to all you MPs. It's not glam bucket, slam bucket. Thrust passion. I'm frustrated. At the same time, I'm passionate, right? I'm passionate. I've got some great aspirations, great ideas, new monies for government, new ideas you are not doing. I've got to say a big thank you to Sue. It means a lot, does it, Sue? Does it mean a lot? I'm glad it means a lot to you, girl. Please stay strong. I'm here, you know. My wings are going. My wings are going, you know, and I'm lifting off. I'm this far off the ground. You know, I've not quite lifted off properly because I've not got no thrust yet. You know, but I'll get it. I'll get it. All you people are giving me the fight to gain that thrust, you know, because at the end of the day, I am here for you, and I am going to be on Facebook Live as a regular thing. This is my first night tonight, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I've just been given Paul Roberts, what's your opinion on Kafkas? Kafkas are in it with the social workers. I'm not going to hold back, mate. You know I won't hold back, Paul. In my court case, I got their evidence and the Guardians thrown out of court because it was a load of rubbish. So Paul Roberts, mate, you're right. Kafkas are into it as well. It's a propaganda wheel, mate, to steal children. It's all part of it, you know. And the BBC don't want to cover it. They're running away from it, mate. You know, LBC, they're all running away from it. You know, the social workers, Kafkas, the barristers, you know. Most of the barristers, what you're dealing with, let me tell you about the barristers. Most of these people that are in their areas are getting involved with social workers. Now what these people are doing is they're running down to the local solicitors. The local solicitors are in family courts every single day, and they've gained good rapport with social workers because they've worked with them for years. So what you're dealing with are friends. Now, do what I did. Go out your local authority and get yourself a solicitor that doesn't know the social workers in your council. Now we've got a clean slate to work on. That's the best way you can get transparency for yourself as in legal team. That's what I did. I've got BTMK. I'm going to be pushing all looked after children that have been failed. I'd like them to contact me because I want to send them to my legal team. My legal team are going to be a turn of the seas, and they are the future for children. They will fight for any child that's been failed at the hands of social services. Now, Jack Straw, why are you making laws, mate? It's a problem I've got against you, Jack Straw. I know some of your colleagues might be watching. You made a law not for children in the system not to be able to speak out, even if they've been maltreated. Why have you done that, Jack Straw? Is a family member of yours been convicted of a sexual offence? Is that why you make these laws up? Shocking, mate. Let's look into you, Jack Straw. All these double standard MPs, you know, Mr. Gove going down having a boogie on down, leaving his kids indoors. What's the future risk of harm on that then? The McCanns, double standards. I'm not going to go into the McCanns. They've got a big fan club, but I need to open the eyes of the McCanns fan club. I lost my children. I had my child stolen, should I say. The same as the McCanns. On future risk of harm. They left their child on future risk of harm. They've got funds to have a carer look after them people, that child, and they didn't do that. The worst happened. Now why haven't they been arrested? Part of the investigation. It ain't fair, is it? I had my child stolen, but I got my child back. That's the difference between me and them. You know? And my heart goes out to Madeline. My heart goes out to that little girl, and I'm telling you, one day, I don't think she is in heaven. I don't. I think she's still with us. Somewhere she's still with us. I do believe that. You know? But at the end of the day, I hope we do find her, and there's a famous old saying, even the Misty Barnes case, my case, all your cases, reconnect me. Gremlins, you know. Chris, my computer's going, my camera's going a bit dodgy and keeps flicking on and off. I don't know whether you've still got me connected fully as a continuous feed, but my camera's going on and off, so when it does go off, what I'll do is I'll keep going just in case, you know. But I've just got a little thing past me again from about Chris. What can I do when police and SS are covering up son's death? If this is the Chris I spoke to last week, I'd like to know, did you contact the legal team, because they was expecting you. I don't know what you're going to do, mate, but I mean, I will, if I do go on telly, I will try and give it a mention if I can, because at the end of the day, it does need to be brought up, you know, mate. Serious failings. I mean, for those people that don't know, I was on Facebook Live last week, and this guy phoned up. His children were in care, went off from the foster parents with no handover book. This child had medication. When it got to the place of caring, a centre of some sort, they didn't know whether the child had administered its medication, but this place had been negligent. This place was negligent. It didn't do no child safeties of paramount. I'll phone the foster parent to see if the child's had a medication before I administer it. You didn't even phone the social worker. You just give this child medication. Now, this is a criminal offence. I'll speak up for you, Chris, mate. It's a criminal offence. This child was murdered. You know, to not be following up on a handover book with this child. Why wasn't a handover book sent with this child, saying in the handbook that this child had medication? The police are stretched. I mean, I can't shout for the police and I can't knock the police. I've got to stay on the borderline with the police, because at the end of the day, the police are the only people that left me alone. They are the only people that left me alone, and to this day they still do. Hello Sheila Phillips, big hello to you as well, girl. Thanks a lot for watching. Please share the like, get it out there, you know. The police left me alone, you know, and it bothers me. You've got this Poppy up in Cumbria, Worthington. She was up in Cumbria, the CPS and the serious case review. She was failed, mate. You know, the police gave her back the laptop. The police didn't have gloves on, you know, so he was allowed to take all the pictures off the laptop. The police didn't go in there with gloves on. You know, there was contaminating the scene. It was just a joke, mate, the way they've handled it. Oh, I'll leave that evidence there, I'll back that later, sort of attitude. I understand when the police's budget, they're squeezed. They are squeezed, and we can't blame the police. I mean, in most cases, when police go around people's houses, they've got to act on an order. These police don't want to be doing this. Do you think the police, seriously, do you think the police want to be healing kids out of parents' arms for a social worker, and they don't know the ins and outs of the case? They don't. But what they do know is that social worker's got an order, and they have to go on that order, you know. But I'm going to turn it round for the police, because, you know, they're getting the police a bad name, and the police, you know, their budgets are stretched. Then I'm going to ease the police in the social service party, you know, because social workers, please, social workers do need to be there. I've met a few good social workers. I really have met a few good social workers. They are out there, and if any social workers are watching, you know, there are good social workers out there, and I'd like to pat on the back the social workers that are good. And them social workers, I know them personally, and they know I know who they are. Pat yourselves on the back, guys, you know. The corrupt social workers, I'm going to hold you to account, because I'm not going to go away. The days are coming when you're going to see, all you people on forced adoption, the days are coming. You're going to see another Sharon Shoesmith who failed children, got promoted, got money, you know. You're going to see another Sharon Shoesmith toddling up the road chased by reporters, you know, because this is what it's about. It ain't about money, it's about criminal charges, it's about change, yeah, it's about justice, and it's about the social service party. The turn of the seas for children. Baby P, yeah, failed, mate. You know. There's another child. What was the child? The child picking up scraps. Pelka. picking up scraps, going in bins, dirty face, picking up food, nicking out lunch boxes. Failed. Shoesmith, what the hell were you promoting? More money. Why didn't you get criminal charges? The social services are going to hold social workers to account, mate. I'm telling you, and all you MPs, you need to be worried, because this is actually an epidemic. You look at my Facebook, all you MPs, I'm going to tell you how it is. Stop stealing children. Let fathers see their children. I'm going to say it again. Big shout going out to you, Bobby Smith. Big shout, mate. And all your followers, Bobby. What you did in the election, standing there with Theresa May, mate, she was gutted. She was fuming. I know Theresa May. I've been on a pleasant bush journey with Theresa May. I've sat down in an office, Theresa May. She went happy with you, Bobby Smith. Big shout going out to you, Bobby Smith, and all your people. Great job what you and you guys do. I'm going to turn it around, mate. I'm going to try. Why do child abusers get new identities? Well, let me tell you something. You lose your children, you don't get a new identity. Poppy Worthington in Cumbria, mum and dad, new identities. What is that all about? These people failed this little girl. Now, when you lose a child, baby P, new identity. Now, when you lose a child to forced adoption, you don't get no new identity. You run after the parents after to nick their next child. That's what you do. You don't give these parents no identity. You chase them. And what you're causing are deaths. You're causing women and men to flee the country to France. Now, this Ian Joseph's in France. He might be a millionaire, right? He gave me the advice to run off to France, you know. I wouldn't have my baby now if I had listened to him. Right? It's all right for him to say, I'll pay your fare. You just stop and think, all you people, before you run away, just please, run with it, right? Because I will do this. I'm going to do this, you know? And let's do this, you know? Don't run off to France. All these expats, they're going to have problems. All these expats will have villas, mate, they're going to have problems because it's going to be a hard Brexit, right? The government don't know what Brexit is, you know? The government don't even know the root causes of child poverty. They don't know. What they think is sending the social workers. They don't. Jeremy Corbyn on the telly the other day. Do you know what? Have you ever been to a food bank? Jeremy Corbyn says. Let me ask you something, Jeremy Corbyn. Have you ever used a food bank, let alone been to one? These nurses are using food banks. When these children are being stolen off of families by social workers, these families are getting sanctioned on their benefit. They're being hounded by their council. Their property is being possessed because of the social workers. So they've got no home for the child to come to. Don't tell me it's rubbish. I can prove my housing association, right? My housing association, Southern Housing Group. You can do what you want. You can have your legal team listening to this. I've got my legal team listening to this. I've got my PR company onto this, and I've got my agent onto this. Southern Housing Group had firm involvement with social workers before my baby was born. Now I know this. How I know this, I went through the complaints process of the council. An independent investigator done that complaints process for the panel. I got all that evidence, and it firmly shows Southern Housing Group were firmly involved in my child being stolen by Thurrock Council. And after my child was stolen, Southern Housing Group sought to remove my property and said that I was under-occupying my property. So, all you councils up and down the country, leave these families to grieve, right? These are families I am shouting for on forced adoption. These are families I am shouting for who are not getting access to see their children. An hour a week, once every 6 months, once every year. Now these families are grieving. What they don't need, the local authorities on their back seeking to remove their property. Don't tell me it doesn't go on. Southern Housing Group practice it. I can prove it. And I'm going to bring you down, Southern Housing Group, and let me tell you something. It is about compensation with you, Southern Housing Group. You moved me after I got my flat into a house. Then my boiler in the house was signed off as adequate, okay to use, by your voids manager. When the winter came, I started using my boiler. I discover the windstorms, the draft storms under my front door and under my back door revealed an inch gap. Now I've got to use my boiler over the Christmas period full blast. Now I'm poisoning myself and my missus and my kids because the Southern Housing Group contracts manager signing off a boiler. You tried to kill me and my missus and my kids on the Christmas. And I'm suing you, and yet it is about money. I've got the boiler, I've got all the documentation, and I'm taking legal action against you. And what I'm going to do with all that money, Southern Housing Group, is put it into the Social Service Party and the school I'm a governor at. The school I'm the governor at is going to be the best school for child protection. The teachers in this school, they're not quick to jump in. They're not quick to jump in when they see a scratch on a child. Harris Academy, Mayflower, is the best school in this country. Their teachers of child protection in that school are the best. They don't judge families walking in the gate because they're scruffy. They don't judge it because there's a scratch on a child. They look into it properly. They don't make him referrals every 5 minutes to social services. This is a school that is the leading school on child protection. This school is going to show all these council schools, government-run schools, how it's really done. And they're going to bounce off the Social Service Party. So Southern Housing Group, I hope you're watching this, because I'm going to sue you for every penny I can get. You had firm involvement of stealing my child. You then tried to kill me with carbon monoxide. And yet it is an allegation, and I can prove it. And I'm going to use all your money, Southern Housing Group, for the Social Service Party to combat forced adoption and fathers and mothers not seeing their children. I am going to be the turn of the seas. And Southern Housing Group, I'm going to take all your money off of you. And I'm going to put it into the Social Service Party and Harris Academy Mayflower. Child protection. The team in that school is second to none. Any more likes and shares would be much appreciated. You know, next time I'm live on Facebook Live, I will have a phone number for people to call in. I will get myself a cheap little phone for people to phone in. We can have little call-ins and all the rest of it. It would be nice if there's a social worker out there who disagrees with me to come on my Facebook Live and disagree with me. I'll make sure that all these comments on my Facebook will be good comments and you're not going to be slated on my Facebook. But please, I would like to have a social worker. I know there's a social worker out there who's got guts, because there is some good social workers. Now, I'd like a social worker to join me one night on Facebook Live. I'd like an MP to join me on Facebook Live, because these people, you know, on forced adoption and these fathers, mate, they're getting sick of it. When one of these fathers going to end up killing themselves? They're on top of the Harch, on top of Park Lane, you know. When are one of these fathers going to kill themselves? Because if they do, I'm going to shout their corner, because they've taken their own life doing something, fighting for the child they're not seeing. It's inhumane. These fathers are paying for their children. Now, I want a lot of people to follow Bobby Smith. This is a guy that's fighting to see his child. You know, this guy does not go away. This guy goes in elections and takes the right mick out of the ballot paper. I like this guy. Bobby Smith, you're great. Any more comments? What I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a night for Facebook Live tonight. I'm going to do this on a regular basis. I'm going to have anybody that would like to join me on a Facebook Live to talk about their thing instead of talking about on the phone. It's a lot better to talk face to face. Obviously, if you do come on my show, Facebook Live, of forced adoption or not seeing your children, to get your message out there on my behalf. What we can't do is show any pictures or divulge any name, you know, but I'll be every Sunday at 9 o'clock, you know. I will probably do a midweek session because it is rife. Forced adoption is heavy. Fathers not seeing their kids, it's heavy. How can you expect the father to go to work, give £1 of sweat and pay that some of that money to CSA? He ain't even seeing that child. You're mentally abusing that father, that mother. But I'd like to say thank you to all them people that have logged on tonight, took their time out of their Sunday evening to watch me on Facebook Live. You know, please get this video out there, share it, like it. The Social Service Party is what I'm about. I'd like to go deep into my manifest. I've touched a little bit of my manifest regarding Alzheimer's, 850 Alzheimer's sufferers. I could raise £25 million for the Alzheimer's sufferers, you know, to ease that NHS. I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube. If you go onto Twitter, @OneMistyBarnes, you will see me hammering, and I mean telling the establishment how it is, because they can't shut me up. Now, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for all you people, you know. I'd love to cry for you all on live on Facebook, you know, but I can't do that, you know. I'm a failed looked after child. I find it hard to cry, you know. I have to be beaten to feel like a man, you know. It's crazy. Follow me on Facebook, Misty Barnes, like you're all on, you know. YouTube, #scousemegaphoneman. I'd like to say a big shout out to everybody in the States. Stay strong, you know. Forced adoption is a worldwide thing. It is an epidemic in the UK. I've got quite a lot of friends on Facebook Live, Facebook from America. So again, a big shout going out to all you people in the United States. @OneMistyBarnes. Twitter, you will see me hammering the crown. #scousemegaphoneman. YouTube. That's all, folks, you know. Stay strong, pat yourselves on the back. Please, please, build all them bridges between each other. This is very, 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 very important thing to me. Now we need to unite now, really. We need to unite. We need to do what Donald says, do a great job, yeah, we'll do a great job on this one, we'll do a great job. What we've got to do is we've got to build all these bridges, all this animosity's got to stop, man. Come on, please, we're all hurting. We all want to say nasty things, it's because we're all hurting, right? Pat yourselves on the back, dry your eyes, you know, the streets, that's the song, you know, dry your eyes, this is it, you know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the tune of Forced Adoption, just to close it, and say good night to all you guys, you know. Again, this is the FAFs fighting against forced adoption, FAFs. Fighting against forced adoption, and this is the song I shout for every forced adopted child in this country. For those who have just logged on, sorry you missed me tonight. Go back, watch it, share it, like it, do what you want with it. This is the sound of the song for every child in this UK. I would like this song. I would like this song to be played in all protests. Any protest regarding a child, I would like this song to be shouted, blared out. This is the song, you know. They're spending wealth what's mine to look after all those children. Hats off to all you people. I will fight for every forced adopted child in this country. I grieve for every child that has been adopted. I grieve for every family that has had a child adopted. The more you Theresa May! Come on, Theresa May, what are you going to do about it? You can't lock me out. Local government perjured themselves. They do it and steal children. What are you going to do? I speak, Theresa May. I speak for every forced adopted child. I speak for every child that has been adopted and every family that is grieving. What are you going to do, Theresa May? Your local authorities are stealing children. You can't lock me out. It's change I want, Theresa. Please, please, it's change. I've been that fella looked after child. I've been battered in boarding schools, you know. I've been in institutions, I've been in young defenders, I've been in secure units, I've been in prison. I got my child back. All you people, I got caught growing weed. I got my child back. Brothers and sisters, never say never. When they insist we're just not good enough. Words are all for all of us. These words are for all of us. But we know better. Just look them in the eyes and say, go on now. Gonna do it anyway. She's about, gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. All you people, put your hands on your hearts. I am with every single one of you. Watch me. I'm a scouser. I'm a doer. Scousers do. They don't chat. They do. Build all them bridges. Let's unite. No more animosity. Let's do this. Let's do this. I love you all. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave no one. I will tell all them MPs. I will tell all them MPs just how you want me to tell them. Theresa May, stop stealing children. You can't lock me up. You stole my child. Good night, everybody. Be strong, be strong.